Zodiac Killer. Just saying the name sends chills down your spine. He's like the boogeyman of California, but real. This guy terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 70s. He was like the Freddy Krueger of serial killers, but instead of dreams, he haunted newspapers with his cryptic messages. What made him even creepier was his thing for ciphers. Yeah, like secret codes. He'd send these puzzles to the newspapers bragging about his murders and threatening new ones. Talk about bad for business. The Zodiac claimed to have killed 37 people. But here's the catch. He only definitively offed 5. 2 near Vallejo, 1 in Napa County, and another couple at Lake Berryessa. See, the Zodiac was all about mind games. He wanted us to believe he was this killing machine, always one step ahead. But here's the thing about mysteries. They beg to be solved. And for over 50 years, the question of who the Zodiac really was has haunted investigators, armchair detectives, and folks like you and me. December 20th, 1968. It was a Friday night, the start of Christmas break. Young love was in the air. At a local Vallejo grocery store, a young couple, David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, were picking up last-minute gifts for their families. Maybe they were hoping for a little romance under the mistletoe. Later that night, they parked on a lover's lane known as Lake Herman Road. It was their spot, a place for a little privacy away from the watchful eyes of parents and nosy neighbors. But this night was different. Their quiet evening was shattered by the deafening roar of a car door slamming shut. A figure emerged from the darkness, approaching their car. Fear gripped the young couple. The figure raised a gun. 5 shots rang out, piercing the stillness of the night. David and Betty Lou never had a chance. The next morning, their bodies were found, lifeless in David's Rambler. The news of the brutal murders spread through Vallejo like wildfire, leaving a community in shock and mourning. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a terrifying saga. The Zodiac, as he would soon be known, craved notoriety. He wasn't content with just taking lives. He wanted to toy with the authorities, to hold the public captive in a macabre game of cat and mouse. And what better way to do that than with cryptic messages, taunting letters sent directly to the press? August 1st, 1969 marked a turning point in the Zodiac case. 3 letters practically identical arrived at the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner. Inside each envelope was a handwritten message, filled with bizarre symbols and coded threats. The killer demanded that these letters be printed on the front page of their respective newspapers. Otherwise, he would unleash a weekend of terror claiming more innocent lives. The letters sent shockwaves through the Bay Area and beyond. This wasn't just a cold-blooded killer, this was a showman, a master manipulator who thrived on the fear and attention he generated. And the ciphers? They became an enigma, a puzzle that captivated the nation. Everyone, from seasoned cryptographers to amateur sleuths, was trying to crack the code, desperate to uncover the secrets hidden within. Now, the Zodiac was a cocky fellow. He seemed to get a kick out of taunting the authorities with his cryptic messages, but there was one cipher that really got under everyone's skin. They called it the 340-character cipher because, well, it had 340 characters, go figure, right? This puzzle was a real head-scratcher. It was like trying to solve a Sudoku puzzle after a night out with the guys, nearly impossible. For years, people tried to break the code. They spent countless hours hunched over their desks, pencils worn down to nubs, but the 340-character cipher remained a stubborn mystery. Fast forward to 2020, and boom! A team of 3 code breakers, an Australian computer programmer, a Belgian software engineer, and a good old American web designer finally cracked the code. It was like finding the holy grail of cryptography. Turns out, the message was pretty chilling. The Zodiac claimed he wasn't afraid of the gas chamber because it would just send him to paradise faster. He even bragged about having slaves waiting for him in the afterlife. Talk about a twisted sense of humor. The Zodiac Killer wasn't a one-hit wonder, sadly. He continued his reign of terror with more attacks, each one seemingly more brazen than the last. On September 27, 1969, he struck again at Lake Berryessa, this time targeting a young couple, Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell. Clad in a bizarre hooded costume adorned with a zodiac symbol, the assailant bound and stabbed the couple. Cecilia tragically succumbed to her injuries, while Brian miraculously survived to provide a chilling account of the attack. The killer left his calling card, scrawling a message on Brian's car door, boasting of his crime. Then, on October 11, 1969, the Zodiac claimed another victim, cab driver Paul Stein in San Francisco. This time, he even took a gruesome souvenir, a piece of Stein's shirt, which he later mailed to the San Francisco Chronicle, along with another taunting letter. With each attack, the Zodiac's legend grew. The letters, the ciphers, the bizarre costumes, it was like something out of a horror movie, only this was all too real. Now you might think with all the letters, ciphers, and even an eyewitness description, catching the Zodiac would be a piece of cake. But you'd be wrong. See, this guy was like a phantom, disappearing into thin air after each attack. The police were baffled. They chased down countless leads, investigated hundreds of suspects, and spent countless hours trying to decipher the Zodiac's cryptic messages. They even had a composite sketch of the killer, thanks to the description provided by the 3 teenagers who witnessed him fleeing the scene after the Paul Stein murder. But despite their best efforts, the Zodiac remained elusive. He was like a ghost, always one step ahead of the law. It was enough to make you wonder if he had some kind of supernatural ability to vanish at will. Over the years, the Zodiac case has become a breeding ground for theories and speculation. Everyone from armchair detectives to seasoned investigators has their own pet theory about who the Zodiac might be. Some believe he was a disgruntled ex-military man, while others think he was a disgruntled schoolteacher with a penchant for puzzles. There's even a theory that the Zodiac was inspired by the novel The Most Dangerous Game, which features a bored aristocrat who hunts humans for sport. And let's not forget the more outlandish theories like the one that claims the Zodiac was actually a famous celebrity or politician. While some of these theories are more plausible than others, the truth is, we still don't know for sure who the Zodiac Killer was. The case remains open, a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror may have ended decades ago, but his shadow still looms large. He's become a cultural icon, a symbol of evil and mystery that continues to fascinate and frighten us. His story has been told and retold in countless books, documentaries, and Hollywood films, each one trying to unravel the enigma of the Zodiac. Remember David Fincher's 2007 film Zodiac? Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, talk about a star-studded cast. The film dove deep into the investigation, showcasing the obsession that consumed those determined to unmask the killer. But the Zodiac's impact goes beyond entertainment. His case had a profound effect on law enforcement, leading to changes in how serial killer cases are investigated and how evidence is collected and analyzed. The use of criminal profiling, DNA analysis, and other forensic techniques became more prevalent in the years following the Zodiac killings. The Zodiac case wasn't just a game of cat and mouse, it was a crash course in frustration for law enforcement. Imagine being a detective on the case, drowning in a sea of cryptic messages, dead ends, and false leads. The pressure was on, the public was terrified, and the clock was ticking. Each new letter, each new cipher was a taunt, a reminder that the Zodiac was always one step ahead. And then there was the evidence, or rather the lack thereof. The Zodiac was meticulous, covering his tracks like a pro. He wore gloves, used aliases, and chose his victims carefully, leaving little to no physical evidence behind. It was like he'd studied the art of disappearing. Despite the challenges, investigators never gave up. They pored over every detail, interviewed countless witnesses, and chased down every lead no matter how small. But the Zodiac, like a phantom, remained just out of reach. The Zodiac Killer may have vanished into obscurity, but the quest for justice never truly ends. The case remains open, a haunting reminder of the 5 confirmed victims whose lives were cut short and the countless others who lived in fear of the Zodiac's shadow. Over the years, there have been glimmers of hope, tantalizing clues that seem to point towards a possible break in the case. New forensic techniques like DNA analysis have been employed, but the Zodiac's identity remains elusive. The case has become a siren song for amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike, each hoping to be the one to finally unmask the killer. Websites, forums, and podcasts dedicated to the Zodiac case have sprung up, keeping the mystery alive and fueling speculation. The Zodiac Killer, a shadowy figure who terrorized California in the late 1960s and early 70s, remains an enigma, a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. His cryptic messages, taunting letters, and gruesome murders continue to fascinate and frighten us, ensuring that his legend lives on. While the official investigation remains open, the passage of time makes it less likely that we'll ever know the true identity of the Zodiac Killer. The case stands as a testament to the complexities of criminal investigation, the enduring power of mystery, and the human need to find answers, even in the face of the unknown. The Zodiac Killer may have faded into the annals of history, but his story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that evil can lurk in the shadows, and some mysteries may forever elude our